You were on the Red and Gold postgame show. Go ahead.
I'll try not to repeat what's already been said. One thing I thought that was important in the second half was whenever there was a 3rd and 5, 6, or 7, Herbert had plenty of time to throw. The Chiefs weren't getting pressure with 4, so Spagnuolo was drawing up a blitz, and every time he drew up the blitz, his cornerbacks were playing soft on the wideouts, and it was pitch and catch for 7 yards and a first down when they were blitzing and weren't playing bump and run coverage. I mean, that's horrible coaching. Horrible coaching. You're just giving them first downs. If you're going to blitz, you better be playing them all right on the line of scrimmage. With regard to the issue we had with big wideouts, clearly Rice's injury is important here for what he did and what he's costing this team by being suspended for 6 games. However, Stanford receiver Alec Ayumana was available in the 4th round. He's playing for the Titans. He's going to be a great player, and he was available in the 4th round. A guy we got in the 7th round, Royals, he didn't even make the trip. I don't know, is he injured or?
He's injured, yes.
He's injured. Well, he didn't make the trip. My guess is they're just going to have Tyquan Thornton go deep about 6 times a game if they want to do anything. And it amazed me to some extent that our players, when they were being tackled, weren't running through tackles. They were, like, falling down. Even Hollywood Brown on a long completion, he didn't run it out afterward. He just kind of fell down. And there's a million things we could talk about. The offensive line played horribly. Taylor, I feel like he didn't know the snap count half the time. This has got to be the worst first game we've had in a long time. I don't know what's going to happen against the Eagles. They could get blown out by the Eagles as well. And this is one of those where I hate to say it because it makes no sense. You get beat by the score you get beaten by, but the score could have been much worse. We were just pounded tonight, and I don't see it getting much better anytime soon. Of course, it would help if Worthy's going to be all right. Well, I guess we'll find. Do we know anything about that?
Not yet. We should hear pretty soon, though.
Oh, it was. I can't imagine people who are diehard Chiefs fans how they must feel after watching that game because we were just horrible. Oh, and we didn't give Mahomes any time to throw the ball. Our defensive line, even there were times when they only rushed 3 and had a spy, and he still didn't have time to throw. It was just everybody is complicit in this. It's almost as if they knew what the spread was, and they wanted to make sure the spread got covered. I have no idea. Thanks for giving me the time.
Of course, and thanks for calling in, Phil. And if you want to do that and keep doing it all season long here on the Red and Gold postgame show, 913-381-0810. That's 913-381-0810. Yeah, offensive line play, subpar. We go back to that debut of Jawan Taylor, and when Collinsworth called him out for lining up illegally and getting that slight head start that eventually led to false starts, you knew that maybe it was going to be a train wreck all season long. And what happened that year? The first year of Jawan Taylor in Kansas City, well, he got benched in week 2 against Jacksonville because he could not get lined up correctly or prevent himself from false starting. And yeah, he did it a lot in Jacksonville, but it's different in Kansas City. You're on some of these bigger primetime games, and when a play-by-play guy or a color analyst calls you out, it kind of almost became more of a spectacle. But tonight, more of the same. He just wasn't getting away with it. They were calling it every single time. And yeah, left side of the line, it's not that Patrick Mahomes was pressured in the way that he was early on last year. And let's still be real. I want to keep circling back to this, even though we can vent some frustration. It's week 1. It's still a football team that has been to 3 straight Super Bowls. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, 1 game, now they're not doing it. This is the awful football team, and there's no way they can overcome it. They absolutely can. They have a tough start to this schedule. They'll see Philadelphia next week. They will see Baltimore in a few weeks. They will see Detroit in a few weeks. You've got some tough matchups. They are also doing it without their number 1 wide receiver, and it might be more of a growing process, some growing pains along the way with the left side of the line. But I will say this. The left side of the line, it's tough to do when you're facing top-tier competition. And the Chargers, they don't have that elite defensive line like they'll see down the road. But, yeah, I kind of walk away feeling a little bit underwhelmed by the performance of the offensive line. Going to go back to Nick here. Nick, thanks for your patience. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, yeah, appreciate you having me on. Yeah, first-time caller here, and I'm a bit of a younger fan of the Kingdom. I'm 24, but I've been a season ticket member with my dad going on a decade now. And, man, that's some of the most frustrated I've felt from a regular season game going back to thinking of the Christmas Day game against the Raiders a couple seasons ago. That was just, oh, man, still sitting with that. And just looking at the box score, I mean, if Mahomes is the rushing attempt leader, we've got issues. If Mahomes is the rushing yards leader, we have serious issues. I mean, Pacheco getting 5 rushes in 60 minutes of football. Hunt getting 5 attempts in 60 minutes of football. That's a big problem. And I fully agree with what all of you were saying about the secondary. It's rough. It's rough. Herbert was picking us apart. I wanted to cover my eyes nearly every time he dropped back to pass. It was just, he was having his way. I'm completely embarrassed by it. The Chargers were playing backyard football with us. Herbert was just, dinking and dunking, long, medium, short. It was just having his way. And he had all the time in the world. It was just, I'm sick by it. It was tough. And Jawan Taylor, I don't know what needs to be done with Jawan Taylor. That's something I've been ready to move on from. And yeah, next week's going to be, I'm scared. Eagles are going to be, I don't know what to expect, man. And Giants and Russell Wilson the week after on Sunday Night Football will give us a test too in front of the whole nation. We could start out 0-3. I'm not trying to overreact here, but if I hope we can get past the Eagles and hopefully we can get Worthy back eventually. But yeah, just a lot of thoughts. I'll keep it brief, but can't wait for the December 14th rematch against the Chargers at Arrowhead. I'll be there, and that'll be a good one. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Just keep it brief, but appreciate it.
Of course, Nick, and yeah, be sure to call in every single week. We got a diehard Chiefs fan here, younger callers. We love it. Yeah, everything you said, I do agree with, and they're going to be looking forward to that rematch as well. This is going to stick with them for a long time. But again, you look to next week. And it's Philadelphia, and it's at Arrowhead. And I feel I'd be lying to all of you if I said, well, tonight's game didn't take out any of the extra energy and the steam of that football game. You'll still have it, don't get me wrong. But to carry a win from Brazil back home, and then you've got the Eagles, it does feel a little bit better. But tonight, you're 0-1. That's just the reality of the situation. It's tough. It's a good football team that you faced. You had some negatives. You had a lot of negatives in this football game. But I feel we can also have some faith that this coaching staff, a Hall of Fame quarterback, a Hall of Fame tight end, an offense that is going to get better as each week goes on. I mean, I feel very comfortable in saying that. Their number one wide receiver will be back at some point. We'll get the word on Xavier Worthy really quickly here. I'm sure any minute now we'll hear from Andy Reid himself. I know we'll definitely get the audio later on in the show. We are going to jump back on the phone lines here and get to Dan from KCK. Dan, go ahead.
Hey, Jack, how you doing? Great to talk to you again. Yeah, it was a great game. The Chiefs didn't win. We got to clean some things up, and the defensive lines got to play better. On that last play on 3rd and 14, Chris Jones just missed him, and then after that Herbert got the first down, the camera caught Chris Jones and through tranquil arguing with each other. I like the passion in the defensive line, so, you just got to get better, clean some things up, and got to get that running game going, despite that they didn't get more carries for Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. But anyway, let's take care of business in a few weeks to get some revenge on the Eagles. Take care of yourself, Jack.
Yeah, I appreciate the call as always, Dan. Yeah, they got to get back up on the horse pretty quickly. This is a damn good football team that you're going to be facing next week, and it's going to be that way moving forward. You did get the extra day off, as Dylan's telling me, and when you have that extra day off, who knows? The guys that are pretty banged up, maybe you are able to feel fresher for that game. You're juiced up to be back at Arrowhead. It'll be a hostile environment. Should be a lot of fun. Let's get to two more callers here before we hit our first break of the show. We'll go to Lou. Lou, thanks for your patience. And what's on your mind?
I'm agree with you. I'm going with you. We got rid of our best players. And don't worry. Tomorrow, since we got that sack of the game, if you work tomorrow, you can go in, buy up 2 Big Macs.
All right. Well, yeah, you heard the man. You heard the man. Going to McDonald's tomorrow. You can still get the Big Macs because Drew Tranquil got in the backfield twice. Got 2 sacks. If you need to drown the sorrows a little bit.
So negative, everybody.
I know. Hey, go get a Big Mac. Feel good about it.
It is September.
Drew Tranquil's a man of the people. He is. But again, appreciate the phone call, Lou, and you heard the man. All right, let's get to Rick. Rick, you will round us out here before we hit our first break. Actually, I might have accidentally hung up on Rick. So, Rick, if you were on the line, call right back. We'll get you right on here for the Red and Gold postgame show on Sports Radio 810 WHB. By the way, we are presented by Shamrock Roofing and Construction, a proud supporter of Cars for Heroes and giving back to those in need. ShamrockRoofer.com. Also presented by Boda Box Wine. Kick your tailgate party up a notch this football season with Boda Box, the ultimate tailgate wine. I see we've got a caller coming back. I imagine it's Rick, who I just accidentally hung up on. So I'm going to let Dylan handle this the rest of the way. I'm trying to lean back here and click the phone lines in. So, Dylan, if I can turn this over to you and switch it over to Rick. Rick, I apologize. I accidentally hung up on you. I'm sure you got great things to say. What's on your mind after a 27-21 loss?
Well, there's a lot of things you can comment on. The thing that really bothers me about the Chiefs going forward is the complete lack of a running game. I mean, Pacheco's just not that good, let's be honest. But 2 things at the end of the game that would have given us a chance to come back and have, a vintage Chiefs last-minute win. That pass to Hollywood Brown, I mean, look at that play. There's no one within 5 yards of him when he catches the ball. He turns around, takes a few steps, and then he actually stops, bracing for the hit. If he would have just run through it, he either would have scored or at minimum gotten all the way down to the 5. You really have to look at that closely. And then, of course, the Justin Herbert 3rd and 14 that he converts where we lose containment on him. That's just inexcusable. But, it is what it is. And, the Chiefs are going to be a work in progress this season. The division's much better, so it's going to be tougher this year. But go Chiefs.
Yeah, I appreciate the positivity there, Rick. And yeah, they didn't lose to the Tennessee Titans tonight.
It's not January.
It's not January. And I go back to, Dylan, 2021, I believe it was.
You can go back. I was thinking about this in the car. You can go back to the Patriots in 14 when we beat them by 40.
Went on that was
we hang a banner, and it's the decibel record.
I was even going to say
record.
That year as well. Yes, when Brady gets dominated
they wanted
at
Jimmy
Arrowhead.
G.
Yeah, it was that was the downfall of Brady. I go back to even 2017.
Right. It
was Banner Night in Foxborough. It was Kareem Hunt's debut, and the Chiefs spanked them on national television in Foxborough.
And you're right. It's a lot like 21.
This feels more like that 21 start. I remember the meltdown back then. The Chiefs started 2-4. Remember they had gotten smoked by Buffalo here, and they then went into Washington, I believe, right after that, and played a horrible first half. And you're going, you still had Tyreek Hill at the time. It was, what's going to change here? And this team with its coaching staff, and this is why I'm never going to doubt a team that is quarterbacked by Patrick Mahomes. I can't do it. I just simply cannot doubt a team that is quarterbacked by number 15. And when he finally gets his receiving core back and healthy, that's when we can evaluate this offense. But again, the big question mark will be, can they ever do it? Can they get this team healthy offensively? Okay, I said we had one more call. This will actually be our final call here on the Red and Gold postgame show. Let's get to Mitchell. Mitchell, what's on your mind, my friend?
Jack, love you. Started listening to you in Wichita. Stream you all the time, bud.
Love it. He'll love to hear it.
So my thing is, let's all calm down just a touch. This ain't the Romeo Cornell Chiefs. We're not going 2-14. I mean, let's see where we came from. We're all spoiled fans. Sucks we lost. I get it. But there's a lot of things that they can do to improve. Really disappointing the defense. The offense has a lot of potential. Let's hope we get Xavier back pretty soon. But, there's still a lot of upside. It's one game.
Yeah.
Chiefs Kingdom.
Love the phone call, Mitchell. And, let's – again, this team is still a playoff team. This team absolutely can still win the division. It stings. It hurts. It's frustrating. You'll feel different tomorrow morning. Okay, let's take our first break here on the Red and Gold postgame show. When we come back, might get to some player audio, might get to some Andy Reid audio, but you are listening to the Red and Gold postgame show on Sports Radio 810 WHB. account with Central Bank. Central Bank, strong roots, endless possibilities. Member FDIC. I thought in that moment, this is when the game flips. Right? You had a explosive play, great play design, by the way. And you're right there. You're right there. And Patrick Mahomes is probably thinking, man, get one stop here. One stop, give me the ball back, and we're going to take control of this game. Because for 2.5 quarters, the Chiefs just couldn't do that. I mean, they were very fortunate at the end of the first half that Marion Hampton ran out of bounds. The Chargers still kicked the field goal, but if he goes down inbounds, the Chiefs are down 13-3 at halftime. They have the great fire drill, which honestly could have been the play of the game as well. Harrison Butker drills it from 54. But that offense finally started to click. Finally started to click in the second half. And the defense couldn't get off the field. And as multiple people on the phone line said, what kind of defense is that? Why are you leaving these guys wide open in the slot? And maybe this was more on Harbaugh and making sure that on some of these delayed blitzes, these disguised blitzes, they were just picking them up. Now, the one thing we didn't address in the opening 40 to 45 minutes we had here on the Red and Gold postgame show is that missed hold on Najee Harris that led to a touchdown. That's about as clear as it gets, and right in front of the official. We're not here to pick that apart, though. The Chiefs' defense couldn't get off the field. They were in that spot because they literally could not get off the field on third down. So I'm not going to point to the missed holding call on Justin Herbert's second passing touchdown of the night. Maybe it was the third. I want to say it was the third. Just couldn't put a hand on him. Even that final play of the game. You have quarterback contained right there. And you saw the Chiefs' defense get into it a little bit after the 2-minute drill. Or the 2-minute warning, excuse me. Drew Tranquil was not happy. And he was chipping a little bit at Chris Jones, of all people. I mean, clearly there was some miscommunication. Justin Herbert is not a dual-threat quarterback. That almost, I don't know, Dylan, if you felt this way, and then I'm sure we'll hear from Chris Jones here pretty quickly. That looked like that Chad Henne run in the COVID year against the Browns, where you're watching it and you go, okay, he's rolling out. Somebody's got to be there. Okay, somebody's really got to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody's there.
No one was there. And someone was there for the Chad Henne run.
Yeah, somebody at least could stop him at the sticks.
Yeah.
Somebody was there. There was nobody within 40 yards of Justin Herbert. It almost looked like a beautiful play design from Harbaugh of just they're blitzing on the right side, and we're rolling out, and he got 30 yards on it. 3rd and 14. Game on the line. Give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes one more time. Give him a chance. Man, I'm not saying this defense is his first defense he had as a starter. The Orlando Scandrick defense. Right? The Justin Houston, the Eric Berry late in the season. Bob Sutton's defense, I probably should just call it. It's not that defense. But how many times that year did we say, man, just get off the field one time, and they couldn't get it done? Tonight, 3 times in that second half. Just couldn't get off the damn field. And that's frustrating. Here is Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Tough day. Kind of took an inside move. I put the blame on me. Probably could have contained better. But super grateful for the opportunity to play in Brazil and play international. It's a lot of fun. The atmosphere was amazing. I just wish we could have closed the game with a W. Well, the tackle jumped me. I think we was in even, 2 3s, 2 5s, and yeah, just should have stayed outside. I blame me. Could have pass rushed better. Could have had a better pass rush. Could have contained better. Yeah, I blame myself. I think this is a learning point for us as a team, also more particular in the defense. It's a lot of learning points we can learn and grow from. First game of the season, I'm quite sure we can watch the film, make some corrections, and we'll be better next week. Well, you know, you're looking at the first game of the season, and you can't judge the team's success by one game or even one particular play. I think we have 16 more games. We have 16 more opportunities to get better. We can watch, make some corrections, fix some errors. I think there was a surplus of inflicted errors, offsides, roughing the passers. Multiple times we shot ourselves in the foot, some self-inflicted wounds that we can fix and detail that up, and I think we can improve in that aspect. I think it's more so overall. We're a high energy team. We got to go into every game playing like it's the Super Bowl. I mean, anytime teams play the Chiefs, it's an opportunity to play a Super Bowl caliber team, and you get to see where your team is at. I think we was kind of flat early on, and we got to start off a little faster as a team. I think it's more so about self-reflection. Watch the film. Be critical on your errors and on yourself. Come prepared this week to make sure you make the corrections and learn from your mistakes. I think we all made a lot of mistakes. We all contributed to the loss of today, and it's a lot of areas we can get better in as a team, as individuals, and I think we got to apply corrections. We got to fix corrections, and once we're able to do that, I think we can get back on track of being successful. All right. First and foremost, I'm super grateful that we had the opportunity to play in Brazil. You guys are amazing. The fans was, the atmosphere was incredible. I wish we would have came out with a W, but like I said, this game is a learning point. It's the first game of the season, and you always have high hopes of winning every game, especially the first game of the season. First game of the season when everyone has the jitters. A lot of emotions. Self-inflicted wounds for us kind of bit us in the butt. Penalties, things we can fix, things that I feel like we've been better at, that, we can make the corrections and make sure we pay attentive to them this week and correct them going into next week playing Philadelphia Eagles.
Couple more. Go ahead, Jesse.
No comment.
Front row in red.
Hello, Chris. Good night. That was the first official game since the loss of the Super Bowl, which wasn't a really great defense match, and wasn't the best answer that you guys gave. Is that any concerns for the rest of the season of how your team is capable of dealing with defense, or do you feel that you have some impact on the field of the Super Bowl?
It's the first game of the season. Unfortunately, our last 2 games has resulted in the losses. But if this is our worst, then we got something to look forward to. I'm quite sure over the course of this year we will continue to get better. We'll continue to improve, and if we continue on the pace and the track that we plan to be, around December we'll be reaching our peak going into January.
Last one in the back.
You said it yourself, no time to talk about this loss. It was a tough one. First couple games of the season, we will be facing some of the best defensive lines in football, the Eagles, the Lions, the Ravens. As leaders, how do you turn things around inside the locker room in the defensive line room?
I think first eliminating mistakes to beat ourselves. Once we eliminate the small mistakes and small errors, we can fix those self-inflicted wounds, and then we can focus on the bigger things. But most importantly, fixing the small details.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Brazil.
All right, that's Chris Jones. After the 27-21 loss at the hands of the Los Angeles Chargers, really took accountability. It's what you look for from the leader of your defense. 3rd and 14, game on the line. Had the contain, and he went inside instead of staying outside. If he stays outside, Justin Herbert doesn't have that much space to run. But also, I can see the argument. Chris Jones said, I shouldn't have done that. 99% of football people you talk to would say he shouldn't have done that. But also, if he doesn't go inside and beat the right tackle in that spot, I don't know, maybe Justin Herbert stays in the pocket a little bit longer and hits somebody down the field. Maybe a little bit more, it would be easier to stomach than seeing Justin Herbert scamper for 25 yards and a first down on 3rd and 14. I don't think we'll see Chris Jones make that mistake again. I really don't. He's too talented of a player. He's too smart of a player. I like, too, how Chris Jones said, it's week 1. It's week 1. It's 1 loss.
It's so pompous to say, but
it
just doesn't matter.
And people,
it does, and we cannot continue. You have to end it, like you said. The mistakes have to stop.
They do.
They all know how to do it, and they've done it many times.
If this team rarely was able to pull itself out of a hole, out of a ditch, we'd be having a different conversation tonight. This is a team that's been to 3 Super Bowls. And under Patrick Mahomes, the worst loss they've had in the postseason was overtime at home in the AFC Championship game. 1 loss doesn't really change that for me. Now, the test begins immediately again. Next week, you get the Philadelphia Eagles at home. You're in danger of starting 0-2. Then you got a primetime game against the Giants in New York, or New Jersey, I should say. Then you have, Jacksonville and Baltimore and Detroit. You've got a rough 6-game schedule without Rashee Rice. But the hope is you learn from a lot of these mistakes. As Dylan said earlier, we're not talking about a January loss. It's not our last show of the season. It's our first one. And that's right, you're listening to the Red and Gold Postgame Show on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We're presented by Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Shamrock Roofing and Construction, a proud supporter of Cars for Heroes and giving back to those in need. ShamrockRoofer.com. Also presented by Boda Wine. Kick your tailgate up a notch this football season with Boda, the ultimate tailgate wine. We'll take a quick break here. You're listening to Sports Radio 810 WHB. with Spencer Ware, Sharkhandrick West, I guess in 2 stints too, because West and Ware were also with Alex Smith, but they also came back in the Patrick Mahomes era. He had Kareem Hunt in his second year in the league, and then that's when Kareem Hunt was eventually let go by Kansas City because of that incident in Cleveland. But I would love to see this offense have that explosive back to work with. Because I really feel in games like tonight, that can change the offense. It can take so much stress and strain off of Patrick Mahomes, and I get it. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He is the epitome of a gamer and a winner. But if you want him to stay at the top of his game and that offense get back to where it was in the Tyreek Hill days and hell, even the days where you had MVS and Juju in their first year in Kansas City, being able to put up 35, 40-plus points. In those days, you were able to throw it all over the yard. Last 2 years, or I guess I should say last year and then tonight, it just feels different. And it is different when you don't have Rashee Rice out there. And Worthy was not out there for more than 2 or 3 snaps. You don't have that explosive playmaking ability. But there's going to be times, as we've seen in the last year, these guys are not going to be on the field at the same time. And to establish the run, to have that type of threat, it really feels important for this offense. Patrick Mahomes led them in rushing tonight. In fact, Patrick Mahomes had the most rushes of anybody tonight. 6 for 57. Pacheco had 5 carries for 25 yards. Kareem Hunt had 5 for 16. I might also add that Isaiah Pacheco had a rush of 10 yards. So he had 4 carries for 15 on those other 4 carries. That's just not really good enough from your running back room. And Isaiah Pacheco's done it before. I don't know if he'll ever be able to return to that same player that he was pre-injury. But pre-injury, the offensive line just set him up a little bit better. He's not one of those patient runners that really waits for the hole to open up and then he goes through it. He's more of an aggressive, pass-catching back that is going to run right into the point of contact. And that's fine. There are great times to do that. But tonight, when I'm watching this offense go and you're seeing them struggle, a part of me is thinking, well, they just can't hand it off to anybody. That's even giving them 4 to 5 yards. I know technically Pacheco averaged 5 yards a carry, but clearly with this offensive play calling with Andy Reid and Matt Nagy, they abandoned the run. We've seen him do it many times before. And I have to wonder at some point, I really do, I have to wonder at some point if the offseason, I should say, will have a lot of focus on bringing in a legitimate number 1 running back. Somebody that, yes, absolutely fits the offense, but coming in can be an 800 to 1,000 yard rusher. Patrick Mahomes is somebody you want to have the ball in his hands all the time. I get that part. Bringing in a number 1 running back should not change that. I still want him throwing the ball 30 to 35 times a game. But you really want to know what makes Patrick Mahomes so efficient at times? It's when that play calling is just so effortless. He does exceptional things. I'm not trying to say that he's a game manager here. But when you see those 40-plus point performances, man, that offense is such a well-oiled machine. Play action, screen passes, pop plays. I mean, everybody's open. But when you have a defense like L.A. tonight, and you just know there's not much of a threat in the backfield, well, what can you do? Well, we'll take away Travis Kelce, make Tyquan Thornton beat you, and he did on that one play. You just heard it as our Andy recalled the game. We'll make Noah Gray beat us. It maybe changes things if Worthy's out there, somebody who has that vertical threat. Those things can make this offense go. But we're not going to see that version of this offense until week 6, week 7, when Rashee Rice finally comes back. And even when he does, what type of offense is it going to look like? Where's Jalen Royals going to be? He was not available. He didn't make the trip with the team. Can he be a difference maker? Like, you got the receivers here. I mean, Hollywood Brown was targeted 16 times tonight. Clearly, Patrick Mahomes has some trust there. I still feel that running back room, you need a legitimate number one. And I'm not sure they really put that much focus into it during the Patrick Mahomes era. You got Pacheco in the 7th round. Rashard Smith out of SMU, you got him late in the draft. Kareem Hunt, you brought back. He was a free agent. You had Dorian Thompson at one point. Right? You've relied on those later picks, and you have gotten success from some of those guys, but you had a running back heavy draft class a few months ago, and you waited until day 3 to take a running back. He can still become something. I still like Rashard Smith a lot. But I do wonder for this offense to get back. We always talk about healthy receiver room, right? But we also know that the days after Travis Kelce are coming maybe as early as next year. And you're going to need to have another threat. And I really do believe something in that running back room needs to change. Whether Pacheco can get back to that 2023 form, Rashard Smith turns into something, they got to have a threat in the backfield. They just have to for this offense. Okay, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, I believe we'll have Matt Derrick on the line. He is of ChiefsDigest.com. He joins us every Red and Gold postgame show. So let's hit our break. You're listening to Sports Radio 810 WHB. $199 or choose 0% interest financing. Mention WHB and get a free Kohler toilet with purchase. Visit Zintex.com. That's Zintex.com. And you are tuned into the Red and Gold Postgame Show, which is presented by Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Shamrock Roofing and Construction, a proud supporter of Cards for Heroes and giving back to those in need. ShamrockRoofer.com. Also presented by Bodabox Wine. Kick your tailgate party up a notch this football season with Bodabox, the ultimate tailgate wine. And we're going to hop on the phone lines and talk with our guy Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. Well, Matt, the Chiefs open up 0-1. They fall at the hands of the Los Angeles Chargers 27-21 in Brazil. If you had to really put your criticism into one side of the ball, I think I know where you're going to go with this, but maybe more specifically, what would you target? Whether it be offense or defense, one group you'd like to highlight and you'd say, that's probably the biggest reason why the Chiefs are 0-1 after tonight.
Well, I'd probably have a really hard time choosing between the offense and defense if it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes, because he was pretty much, once again, the only dude that seemed to try and put the entire team on his back for any period of time. But defensively, it was just a really inconsistent night. And I think there's actually reason to be somewhat optimistic and pessimistic at the same time. If you want to be a glass half full person, you can absolutely look at this and say, hey, the Chiefs might have given a C- effort. Andy Reid faulted their energy and kind of just coming out of the gate a little flat. They did not play well in any phase. The Chargers outplayed them on both sides of the ball. Justin Herbert had as perfect a game as I think that he can play. The Chargers, I think, did everything they possibly could, and they still only beat this team by 6 points. I mean, this could have been a lesser team could have lost this game by 14. So the fact that the Chiefs were in it until the very end, I mean, I think it does say something about just how good this team can be, that even when they come out with a really flat effort, that they're still in the game to the end. But you just look, and there's just so many little pieces here and there that if they had just played better in one aspect or, one play, I mean, even getting a stop on 3rd and 14, it changes the outcome of the game.
Now, speaking of the offense, I mean, we already knew it was going to be a bit of a grind going through these first 6 games without Rashee Rice yet again, but you lose Xavier Worthy so early on in this game. How concerned should fans be about his health? I know the Chiefs were kind of hinting at it being a shoulder injury. Sometimes you get nervous because it can be a collarbone, which can keep you out a little bit longer. I'll just go scale 1 to 10 here, 10 being really panicked, 1 being not panicked at all. Where should the fans be when it comes to Worthy?
Ooh, I would probably be at like maybe a 6.5. And depending on what you hear in the next couple of days, maybe it could be dialed up a little bit. It could go down, but the fact that he left the game and looked like he was in as much pain as he was, and then they immediately ruled him out after the X-rays, I mean, it clearly tells you it wasn't something that he could come back into the game from. So it brings a lot of things into play. Now, the nightmare scenario would be that he had something like Tyreek and Hollywood had with the sternoclavicular injury. If that were the case, he wouldn't be getting on the plane for 12 hours. So it's certainly something less than that. But if it ends up being, just a dislocation, an AC joint sprain, a separation, anything in there, and if there is a fracture in there, I mean, that could be considerable time. I mean, 6 to 8 weeks suddenly could be in the ballpark. And if now you're talking about playing the next 6 games, 5 games for sure without both Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, I mean, it's starting to feel a lot like the last 2 seasons again. That now I think that obviously the thing the Chiefs have going for them is they're deeper at receiver than they have been the last 2 seasons. But still, you saw what happens tonight. You lose Xavier Worthy, and this offense, it became 2-dimensional pretty quickly, and that's just going to happen. I mean, you lose 2 of your best guys, no offense is going to be able to survive that.
Now, if you're down your number one wide receiver, your number two wide receiver. You still have that uncertainty with your offensive line, and your next 5 games include Philadelphia, the Giants, Baltimore, Jacksonville, and Detroit. Can the Chiefs really afford Worthy to be out more than 3 or 4 games? I mean, we know this team is talented. We know they are well coached. But at some point, you got to look in the mirror and go, it's just not good at all for us right now to be down those 2 guys, and you still have that uncertainty on the left side of your line.
Yeah, and that comes into the next part of it, which is that, hey, offensively, everybody was inconsistent. So I don't think it's fair to make any sweeping generalizations yet, but was the left side of the offensive line as good as you wanted it to be? No. I mean, I thought Josh Simmons and Kingsley Suamataia both had pretty decent first halves. Not great, but not terrible at either. Maybe average to above average. But they both also, I thought, kind of struggled in the second half a little bit more. And that's obviously a bit of a concern, especially because I think you're going to be seeing some defenses in the next 4 weeks, then 5 weeks, that are going to show them a lot of different looks. And I didn't think that the Chargers were as complicated as they could have been. I mean, I think the way that defenses are going to want to attack both those guys is to throw a bunch of twists and stunts and combo moves at them, because the weakest part of the game between Kingsley and Josh is going to be, playing together as one unit and kind of, fitting hand in glove. They're going to be kind of, just one-on-one. And if you can challenge them and cause them to have to communicate more and switch off more and pass off more, I mean, that's not their strength right now. So, if you can challenge them that way, and I think you're going to see some more complicated defensive fronts in the next few weeks, you're probably going to see more inconsistency, because I didn't think that they handled the combo, moves from the Chargers as much and as well as they could have. When the Chargers did run some stunts and some twist at them, they struggled, and I think you're just going to continue to see more and more of that. So there were good moments for this offensive line, but even when Creed Humphrey, bless his heart, dribbling snaps back to Patrick Mahomes, it is not a good night for the offensive line.
We're talking with Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com right here on the Red and Gold Postgame Show on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Where are you at with Jawaan Taylor? Really seemed to struggle tonight. It was called for the false start multiple times, had a holding call as well. I mean, the good news for the Chiefs is that they did spend some money in a backup tackle like Jalen Moore, but Jawaan Taylor's been a guy that's been starting there for a while now. Unfortunately, this continues to be an issue. Did you feel at any point tonight that maybe he was going to be yanked because they couldn't get on the same page with that? He kept being flagged for it? Or do you feel that, Jawaan Taylor's going to be that guy, and unless there's an injury somewhere, Jalen Moore is going to be staying as the backup?
I mean, I think it is going to be that unless there's an injury, he's going to be staying as the backup. It did feel like that Jawaan might have been a little bit under the microscope tonight. The false starts that he's got, that is one of those things that you're going to live with, because he's an offensive tackle that goes on the snap count. He goes on the cadence of the quarterback. He doesn't go off the snap of the ball. That's his way of trying to be able to make sure he gets a good jump. It just means that every once in a while, if the cadence is a little bit off or he misreads it, then he's going to jump a little bit. And I thought even on the other side of it, I mean, I thought that there were some of those moments on both sides that didn't get flagged, but Jawaan did, and and we know that he's been kind of a target for a while, and it looked like maybe he did have a little bit of the microscope on him tonight. Because I also thought that there were quite a few holding calls that got missed, but none of the ones that Jawaan committed got missed. And that can happen. I mean, if you've got a reputation and the officials are watching for you, sometimes it just means you're going to get more and more flags. Unless it really just starts piling up in a game, and you have like what happened in Jacksonville a couple of years ago, and then they pull him out. Unless something like that happens, I don't think there's going to be any move. I think they will have a long leash on Jawaan to let him, just based on how much money he's making and where they're at. I don't think they have any interest in pulling him out. So I think that even if they did pull him out of a game, I think it would just be like what happened against Jacksonville, just a short-term opportunity for him to kind of reboot. But I don't think right now that we're anywhere close to seeing Jalen Moore taking over that job full-time.
Two more questions for you here, Matt. Really appreciate your time. Jumping over to the defensive side of things, what do you chalk up tonight to? Is that more so the game plan that Spags had maybe just wasn't at his best, or do you feel that this was more player execution and guys just not getting their job done?
It certainly felt a lot of execution. I mean, there were breakdowns across the board. And I think the one thing that was just most disconcerting, especially since the Chiefs pride themselves on being multiple defensively, is just how badly they got carved up in zone defense tonight. That's just something that we're not used to seeing from a Steve Spagnuolo defense and a Dave Merritt defense. They just got carved up, and and some of that might be expected, and maybe it should be expected early in the season because let's face it, you're trying to figure out how to play without Justin Reed, and he was a big part of your secondary the last couple of years. You don't have Najee Johnson right now. You've had some injuries. Christian Fulton didn't play a whole lot tonight, so it was a lot of Jalen Watson. And Steve Spagnuolo even acknowledged they're probably going to be trying to figure out what their identity is in the first quarter of the season. And we have seen them at times have to go extended periods into the season before they figure out what their best rotation is from a secondary standpoint. And I think that you're going to see that again this year. It might not be settled in the first month of the season. Maybe they're going to have to wait until Najee Johnson gets back before they kind of figure things out. But tonight, I didn't think anybody in the secondary had a particularly good game. Even even Trent McDuffie, I didn't think had a very good game. Everybody in the secondary kind of struggled, and it's going to happen when you've got veteran quarterbacks and good quarterbacks like Justin Herbert, and you've got guys like Keenan Allen who can absolutely tear apart zone defenses. But it was really concerning to me when like a Quentin Johnston is carving up your zone defenses. That's concerning.
And on that last play that we're all going to be remembering from this 27-21 loss, Chris Jones, 3rd and 14, he took a lot of accountability on it, but instead of staying outside in the contain, he goes inside, leaves a completely wide open sideline for Herbert, gets the first down and ices the game. If he does stay outside, do you feel that Patrick Mahomes gets one more opportunity to go and win the game?
Sure feels like it. I mean, if there wasn't room for Herbert to make that scramble, I think absolutely. I mean, I think the Chiefs get a stop. It's 3rd and 14. I mean, if you can keep the quarterback in the pocket there, you should expect to get the stop. So you never know, 20/20 hindsight. But, yeah, I mean, if Chris gets contained there and is able to keep Herbert in the pocket and forces him to throw the football, I mean, you got to think you got a pretty good chance of getting the stop there. And you're going to give Patrick Mahomes the ball back with 2 minutes to play. That's a situation that usually the Chiefs thrive in. And I joked at the beginning of the game when the Chargers went up 10-0. Chiefs had the Chargers exactly where they wanted them. Chiefs just seems like usually win this game tonight. Just they did not have it. They were just not sharp in any aspect.
All right. Well, Matt, appreciate your time as always, and we'll talk to you next week after the Chiefs and Eagles.
Sounds good, Jack. Take care, my friend.
There he goes. That's our guy, Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. He joins us every single time on the Red and Gold Postgame Show. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to Sports Radio 810 WHB.
listen, I thought it was kind of a two-halves passing game. I thought the first half we were off a bit, and then the second half it picked up a little bit. We had a few more explosives there, and got into a little rhythm, better rhythm than what we had there. So we got to, again, I've got to make sure that we start faster in there. Yeah, but listen, I expect more than that. I've got to make sure we come out with better emotion. And, it's a nice big stage for us, and I guess a good football team. And they made a couple plays early, got things going, and we weren't able to do that. And I thought they did a better job in that area. So.
All right, that was Andy Reid, his opening statement, and went a little bit over the injuries there. I know everybody was wondering about Worthy. Sounds like they'll know a little bit more tomorrow. Andy also went on to talk about getting his guys prepared for a game out of the country.
Yeah, listen, I'm on the sideline, so I expect there to be emotional support there. I also expect the players to fly around and do the things that I've seen us do. So it's my responsibility to get them in that frame of mind. Do that, whether you have an injury, a turnover, whatever it is. You fight through that and you make yourself better, whatever situation that you're in.
Yeah, it felt like for the most part, they technically were prepared, but better game plan, better execution from the Chargers tonight in their 27-21 win. Now for the Chiefs, speaking of execution and being prepared and just being better than their opponent, which they were not tonight, here was Andy Reid talking about cleaning up those mistakes and moving forward.
Yeah, we normally like to mix and match, but we did take a few more shots today, completed a few, and we were off on a couple. But that's you keep firing in those situations and work through it.
After this first game of the season, what do you think will be the first thing that you have to train better and improve for the next game, besides start faster, as you said?
Sure, we got to clean up some of the penalties that we had, especially in crucial situations as you're getting ready to go in and potentially score. And so we got to take care of that. I expect more from our guys than that. And then there's some little mistakes here and there that we'll take care of too.
Yeah, handling some of those mistakes on the offensive line, crucial moments, not holding, not false starting. You kind of get who I'm hinting at here. Now, he did have a chance, too, to talk about the O-line as a whole, and more importantly, the performance of the rookie at left tackle in Josh Simmons.
Yeah, listen, I thought we did a decent job up until that, the last drive there. I thought there was pressure on Patrick when we had to throw the football. Just absolutely, and you got to bear down. That's, again, got to be in a certain frame of mind to do that. It's a good learning experience. Up to that point, though, I thought they really handled it well.
And what you saw from Josh Simmons?
Yeah, you know what? I think he did okay. I've got to check the tape out for individual guys on that.
Yeah, I'd say Josh Simmons looked okay tonight. One play I went back and watched, that 4th and 7 connection to Hollywood Brown down the field where he just slipped behind the defense and was wide open. Woof. Kingsley Suamatia got beat like a drum on that play by Khalil Mack. Fortunately, though, Hollywood Brown was open, and Patrick Mahomes was able to hit him down the field. If he leads him a little bit more, probably 6, and Kansas City pulls within 2 points there. Speaking of Patrick Mahomes, though, Andy Reid did talk about him using his legs a little bit more in this game.
Sure. Yeah, Pat's always going to get his runs in. That's just how that goes, and we don't plan for those. We've got to do even better in that area. We can do a better job there. So we'll keep working on the run game and make sure we can get our yards per carry up a little bit higher with the running backs.
Yeah, definitely going to be needing to do that. We already talked about that. Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, both of them, not a lot of carries tonight. Pacheco had 5, Kareem Hunt had 4, and not a lot of production from either of them. This game, as we all know, was played in Brazil. It was an interesting sight, sold out, fun atmosphere. fun halftime show, all of that. Here's what Andy Reid had to say about playing in front of the fans in Brazil.
Yeah, sure. Now, listen, the people were phenomenal. People that we ran into, fans, whether it was at the airport, whether it was today on our travel here and throughout the game. So, and then the people at the hotel, I thought, did a great job. So my hat goes off to the Marriott and the folks there for really having a great plan for us. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. The crowd was great. Yeah, the crowd was great. Passionate. I got goosebumps on the national anthem there. Your national anthem, Brazilian national anthem. I mean, that was special. Everybody participating there like that.
Yeah, fun atmosphere, but I'm sure the Chiefs will be pretty thrilled to be back in the States and playing at Arrowhead Stadium this coming Sunday. A few extra days of rest here. Philadelphia, they played last night, so they'll have an extra day of rest on Kansas City. But to be back on a normal sleep schedule, playing in a stadium very comfortable with, I'm sure they'll be thrilled to see all the Chiefs fans out there at Arrowhead for the home opener at 3:25 next Sunday, and you can listen to us right after the game. Harbaugh was phenomenal tonight. I really can say that. Jim Harbaugh was phenomenal tonight. Their game plan, it really seemed flawless. Justin Herbert had one of the best games of his career, in my opinion. Just everything came to them so easy. And this is what Andy Reid had to say on his opposing head coach tonight on the opposite sideline.
Yeah, listen, I thought Jim had a great plan there, he and his staff, and they executed, and their underneath game was good. Possession throws were good. They didn't really hit too many deep ones, but the ones that that intermediate range, I thought they did a nice job with.
Yeah, right on the zone. Softer zone Kansas City was playing tonight. Keenan Allen, wide open. Quinn Johnston, wide open. Lad McConkey, wide open. Will Dissly, wide open. It just was easy, as I said, for Justin Herbert. Over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked a few times, 2 of them by Drew Tranquill. But when it mattered most, big third downs, Justin Herbert, he was able to convert. Harbaugh certainly has a very talented quarterback for him for the next handful of years. And lastly, Andy Reid had the chance to speak on expecting more from both sides of the ball here. Offensively, only able to put up 21 points. Defensively, give up nearly 30 tonight. Here was Andy Reid on expecting more from both sides.
Yeah, listen, I always expect more from the bigs on both sides of the ball. So we can do better in those 2 areas for sure. I mean, that's where it all starts, right? So, and so we can do a better job. We will do a better job.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, that was Andy Reid after week number 1 in Brazil. Chiefs fall to the Chargers 27-21. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll hear from the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs in Patrick Mahomes. You are listening to the Red and Gold Postgame Show on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
The Sports Radio 810 Postgame Show is presented by Boda Box Wine. Great for tailgates, great for sharing among friends and family.
with the clock moving because momentum stopped before he got out of bounds. 7 seconds to go. It's fourth down. They can't spike it, so Butker's coming out. Will they get it off? They do. Butker from 59. It's good. The fire drill at the end of the half leads to 3 points. And it's a 10-point Charger lead. What a finish to the first half here in Brazil.
Yeah, that fire drill was the sweet play of the game, which is brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Stop by Andy's Frozen Custard and grab an 87 concrete and help Travis's 87 and running foundation with every purchase. Do good while eating deliciousness. Andy's, top your day with a smile. We just heard from the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid. Now it's time to hear from the quarterback of the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure that even though he'll take some blame, we can all acknowledge that Patrick Mahomes did pretty much all he could tonight. He didn't outperform Justin Herbert, but considering what he had to work with, some of the issues in the receiving corps, some of the issues offensively, some of the issues from his defense, he did a lot. He really tried to will his team to victory, even converted a big 4th and 7 late in the game. Just wasn't enough when it was all said and done. And ironically, maybe not even ironically, but he talked about it not being good enough. So here was the opening statement from number 15 of the Kansas City Chiefs.
It wasn't good enough. I think just in general, they came out with more energy than we did, their defense and our offense. So we didn't execute. I missed some throws down the field. And obviously we didn't play good enough in the first half.
Yeah, I feel that first half is where he's going to keep circling back to. They were able to get 21 points. They scored twice in the second half, but that first half, it was just a stagnant offense. Couldn't do much through the air. There were a lot of drops. Offensive line was a little bit shaky. I know Andy Reid said it was okay, and even Matt Derrick said it was okay. Second half, they struggled a lot. There just was some miscommunication there, but I do wonder how involved Worthy was going to be in that game plan. All week long, I'm sure you're trying to get the ball to Worthy, and he's done after the first drive. Gets drilled in that crossing pattern by Travis Kelce. Had to have affected how they were calling things the rest of the way. Mahomes also wanted to talk about how this can be a learning moment. Not the first time in his career that he's been 0-1, but it is a loss to a divisional opponent. Here's what he had to say on that.
Yeah, I think it's a learning moment for especially the young guys on the team. It's like we're gonna get everybody's best, and we have to play up to that standard if we want to win football games. And I feel like we didn't play to that standard today. Everybody, offense, defense, special teams. But credit to the Chargers. They had a great plan, came in and played great football and beat us, and now we have to learn from that and knowing that next week's going to be just as tough.
Yeah, speaking of that Chargers game plan, Mahomes also had the chance to talk about that. I mean, where all of his yards, it felt like, just weren't that easy to pick up. It was very easy for Herbert to move the ball tonight. Here's what Mahomes had to say on that.
I think they had a good game plan, man. When you play a team a lot, they kind of know what you're good at, and I thought they did a good job of kind of taking away some of our quick throws and some of our throws down the field. And I thought we adjusted well in the second half, obviously. But if I can hit some of those throws early, it kind of loosens up the defense. So I just got to be better early in the football game, just like everybody else.
You know, being better in the football game is important. We all know that. I keep going back to Worthy being out of the game and how things would be different. How you're able to get those pop passes working, those quick slant routes right over the middle. A lot of those were going to be going to Worthy. And unfortunately, when he gets drilled by Kelce, just some miscommunication there, other guys had to step up. We talked about Juju Smith-Schuster. We talked about Hollywood Brown. We talked about Tyquan Thornton. Here's what Mahomes had to say on some of their performances.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, other guys had to step up. I thought Tyquan and Hollywood and Juju did a great job of kind of filling some of those roles. But that's someone that's a huge part of our game plan and someone that we're counting on to go out there and make plays against some of the man coverage that they played. And I thought guys did a good job kind of stepping up in those roles. But you could tell it took us a little bit to get going.
It's nice to know that once they get Rice and Worthy back, maybe they can at the same time. That would maybe be my biggest concern for this year is can they get these guys healthy all at the same time? But if some of those those weapons are able to be the third, fourth, and fifth option in the offense, this offense can be really good. We're just going to have to wait a little bit longer on it. Now, we heard Andy Reid talk about the atmosphere in Brazil. Here is what Patrick Mahomes had to say in playing in front of that sold-out stadium.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome, the crowd and the atmosphere. It was really cool. It's something I'll remember for the rest of my life. I mean, even like the anthem, the Brazil's national anthem, and hearing everybody sing and how passionate they were about American football. So that part was really cool. I won't remember the result, but I'll remember being here for sure.
Second one, but.
Now, circling back to the wide receiver room in the offense, he knows that going into this week, they might be approaching a defense like Philadelphia has, and he's very aware of the talent on that Philadelphia defense from the Super Bowl in New Orleans earlier this year. There's a chance you go into that game without your number one wide receiver and your number two wide receiver. Here's what Mahomes had to say on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely important. You know, those are two of our best receivers, and they're two great receivers in this league, and obviously threats down the field. And so I thought the guys did a great job stepping up and making some of those plays. But you have to get with the timing of those guys. And so it takes everybody. You know, you got to protect, you got to be on the same page with the receiver, and you got to make the throw. And so if I can make some of those throws early in the game, I think there'll be a different result.
Now, it's not just a loss tonight. Anytime you lose a game on this 17-game schedule, it's going to sting. It does sting a little bit worse when you are playing a team from the AFC West, somebody that is trying to dethrone you for that crown, a crown that you have had since 2016. That's how dominant you've been over this division. Here's what Patrick Mahomes had to say about losing to a divisional opponent tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I could feel it pretty early on. I don't know exactly when that point is, but they definitely came out with more energy than we did. And so in this league, everybody's too good for you to not match the energy of your opponent. And so I think we learned a valuable lesson today. We got to be better from the get-go, from the start. We're not going to be able to just come back and win every single game. Teams are too good in this league, and so this would be a big lesson for us, a division opponent, someone that's going to be there at the end of the year. But we're going to have to learn fast. We're playing the reigning Super Bowl champs next week.
You know, that's a challenge, and that's also the strange thing that you deal with is, you know, for so many years, it was almost just a guarantee. You knew it was coming. This team is going to be able to come back. No matter what the deficit is, they're going to be able to come back. And to hear Patrick Mahomes say, we're not always going to be able to come back. Tonight was one of those wake-up calls where I'm watching this game and I'm going, they're going to be just fine. Get the ball back one time here, get one more stop. It didn't happen. And that might not be the first time it happened or the only time it happens this year. There might be some other outcomes where the defense can't get off the field or Patrick Mahomes does get the ball back and he's not able to put the ball in the end zone or put his team in field goal range. Let's move on to Patrick Mahomes talking about some of the deep throws. Did miss them early on. Did connect with Hollywood Brown in the fourth quarter, but I'm sure he was pretty disappointed in the overall success rate of that tonight.
I'm never satisfied, especially after a loss. I mean, we hit some, obviously, but we missed some as well. And so if I can be better there, hitting some of those deep shots, I think it opens up the rest of the offense. So we hit a couple of them, so that's cool, but it wasn't enough to win the football game.
Front row, bet.
Yeah, I saw some of those deep throws and the angle on them. You go back and see those replays. I mean, Hollywood Brown had a step or two. Tyquan Thornton certainly had a step or two, just slightly overthrown. And that's going to happen in week one. You're not always going to be on the same page. And if Worthy can be back next week, that certainly is the goal. I'm just going to wait to see what they say tomorrow. But you really need to have that vertical threat back for those deep throws. Here was Patrick Mahomes on the field conditions. I know that was on a lot of people's minds going into it, and you were nervous about watching this game. But here's what Mahomes had to say on that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. You know, I mean, both teams are playing on the same field, and there wasn't a lot of people slipping. I mean, there was a couple here and there, but that's football. And so I thought they did a great job. I thought Brazil in general hosted us really well, from the hotel, the food, the ride to the game, and the stadium. I thought it was a great experience. And so obviously not the result we wanted, but something that I thought was really cool.
Now, as he already said earlier in this press conference, it just doesn't get any easier next week after that. I mean, you got the Eagles, the reigning Super Bowl champions at Arrowhead Stadium. Then you got a primetime showdown in Jersey against the Giants. I know we all think about the Giants. It's still a road game in primetime action. You'll see the Jaguars in primetime. Then you're going to be seeing the Ravens. You're going to be seeing the Lions.
Is he facing Jackson Dart or Russell Wilson?
That's the question, isn't it? That's going to be the big question.
Would pull the trigger on that early?
I don't know if it'd be that early. What concerns me, maybe it's just the last time they played up there in Jersey when they faced the Jets and Zach Wilson. And everybody thought in that primetime game, oh, this will be a rout. And I just don't see it being that way this early on in the season, week 3. This defense is going to be working through some stuff, and offensively just appear to be a little bit too banged up right now. Mahomes went on to also talking about that schedule, as we just said. Rough 5 games they have here, couple of tough road tests, couple of tough primetime matchups. It's just not going to get any easier. Here's what he had to say on that.
Yeah, it's not going to be any easier. That's a good football team that we're playing against this next week, and so I think we should have a great week of practice, coming with the right mindset. The leaders in the team got to step up, and when we step on that football field, we got to bring it because it's going to take our best in order to find a way to win against that team. And so we'll go back to the drawing board and be ready to go at practice, and knowing that it's going to take everything we got next week.
Now, that defensive line they're going to be facing, they know all about it. It absolutely shredded them in the Super Bowl back in February. Only this time, you're going to be facing that defensive line with a young left side of the offensive line. In general, it's a very young group. Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Jawan Taylor have experience, but you have very little experience with Kingsley Suamataia and then Josh Simmons at left tackle. Here was Patrick Mahomes on the youthfulness of that offensive line.
I thought they did a pretty good job, some of the games and stuff that the D-line stunts, I think got them a couple times, but I thought they did a good job and they battled. That's all you can really ask for is the battle. Joe is a Hall of Famer. He's someone that's going to have a gold jacket, and so these young guys are talented and they have a chance to be really, really good, and so I thought they did a good job against a good defensive line, but we're going to keep pushing them to be even better and better as we go throughout the season.
And lastly, Patrick Mahomes talked about some of the keys of this game and what needs to change moving forward. I'd imagine that this is a team that against Philadelphia can't put yourself in a spot where you have 6 points at halftime. If you have 6 points at halftime next week against Philadelphia, it's not going to be 13-6 in my opinion. You're probably chasing 2 scores, if not more. I know it's not the exact same team that you faced, but it's a Philadelphia team that has tons of weapons offensively and a terrifying defense. Here's what Patrick Mahomes had to say about moving forward into this next week.
Yeah, I think more than anything, you saw even the run before when I ran to the linebacker. It's like sometimes you just got to do something to jumpstart the team. I was not in the mood to be running out of bounds. I wanted to try to do something to get us going, and we kind of got going as an offense in the second half, but it takes everybody. We got to start faster, and we got to be better on both sides of the ball, and so and special teams, and so that we understand that we're going to be accountable to that, and we'll come back better this next week.
All right, that was Patrick Mahomes after the 27-21 loss at the hands of the Chargers. Dylan, you bring up a good point. Maybe I shouldn't call Philadelphia's defense terrifying.
They got carved up by Dak Prescott.
They got carved up, and the lightning delay probably stunted that Cowboys offense a little bit.
Yeah,
Who knows? Maybe it says more about Dallas. Maybe it says more about this Philadelphia defense.
A lot of drops.
I'm hoping for the game plan, you treat that Eagles defense like it's the one you faced in New Orleans.
Yes,
and not the
absolutely.
one.
You're right. Absolutely.
That does give me some pause there. Where did Dallas have just the right plan of attack against Philadelphia, or is this a weaker Eagles defense? I know for this Chiefs offensive line, a younger one, they got to be prepared, because if you're not prepared, they are going to absolutely dominate immediately off the snap. So looking for better weeks from Josh Simmons, Kingsley Suamataia, the entire offensive line, and let's just call it as it is, needed an entirely better performance from the offense in general. Patrick Mahomes, this receiving core, just get healthy, man. They're going to need Worthy for this game. We all know that. They're going to need even more action from guys like Noah Gray. Travis Kelce, only 2 catches tonight. Going to need him more against Philadelphia. Need him more moving forward. We'll take a quick break. For our final segment, we're going to have the locker room report here from the opposition. Jim Harbaugh speaking to the media. We'll listen to a little bit of that audio, and then we'll wrap up the show next on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Brought to you by Boda Box Wine. Kick your tailgate party up a notch this football season with Boda Box, the ultimate tailgate wine. Boda Box is the premium boxed wine that wins with wine critics. Boda Box, this is how we Boda. Please drink responsibly. Sponsored by Boda Box Vineyards, Manteca, California. You know, that sack set up such a advantageous spot for that Chiefs defense. To be 3rd and 14, you had the 2-minute warning coming. You just want to contain Herbert. Make sure nothing beats you over the middle. Don't need a 15, 16-yard catch and run. Make sure nobody slips behind the defense. Keep everything in front of you and make the tackle. All you needed to do. But as we saw in that final play, Chris Jones goes inside. Instead of saying outside, he took full ownership. No more need to harp on it. Place blame. He took blame himself. That's what leaders do. That's what the leader of this Chiefs defense does. And I don't think he'll do that again. I don't think this Chiefs defense will have that many mental lapses again this season. Could be wrong, But watching Spags' defense over his time here, they only get better as the season goes on. To wrap up our show, we will have our locker room report, which is brought to you by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, whatever you do, if you're a Missourian, we're for you. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we've got you covered. Want to hear just a little bit from Jim Harbaugh, his thoughts after defeating the Kansas City Chiefs in the season opener. Or I guess I should say their season opener, because the NFL season opener was last night between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Sure, he was upbeat. He has been very impressive in his time in L.A., and that, at the time, seemed like a great hire. It continues to be a good hire. Here was Jim Harbaugh after tonight's win over Kansas City.
Jim, can you put this in perspective? 6,000 miles to come, beat this team right down here. Having beaten this team in 7 tries and defending AFC champion.
Yeah, it's a big win. I mean, you can't go 2-0 unless you're 1-0. And our guys really prepared for it. They worked extremely hard. And just throughout the course of the game, could tell that our guys weren't going to be denied. And we were definitely playing against a team that's how they played. They're not going to be denied. 2 opposing wills, 2 opposing forces, and we came out on top.
Hey, Jim, what did you think of Justin's 3rd and 14 scramble there to essentially clinch the game?
Yeah, I thought it was a great job. A great job by Trey Pipkins too, on the edge. It's a really hard thing for a tackle to, when the edge rusher, sees the quarterback moving, that's when you get the holding penalty. And Mike Devlin teaches them to let go when they have that reaction. And Trey did a great job. I was really proud of Trey on that. And then Justin had an incredible game. Also, Trey Pipkins' birthday today. By the way, happy birthday to Trey. Justin was phenomenal today in every way. Pinpoint accuracy. Thought he did a great job with his legs and running there at the end, sealing the game, and just overall toughness. I mean, just complete stalwart. I mean, took some big hits, gave a few shots himself. It was incredible quarterback play today.
Jim, can you talk about the team's ability, right here in the front, the team's ability to respond? Like after every, touchdown or big play the Chiefs had, you guys came back. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, we were talking about it on the sideline. I mean, the Chiefs, they weren't going to give us the game, and we were going to have to win. We were going to have to win it, and our guys, as you said, responded every single time. I'm glad you mentioned that. Even before the half, I was trying to run the ball, get the play clock down to 13 seconds, and when we called a outside run, none of us smart coaches relayed the message to our young running back to stay in bounds, and not his fault at all. That's on me. I told him. I told the guys that at halftime, and after the game, I said, had I just told him, we'd have won the game, And they said, hey, we did win the game. Okay, that's because you guys had our back, and responded. That was great. Great job by our players. And then, on that 4th and 1, big 4th and 1 in our territory, give the ball to Amarian Hampton, and he was not going to be denied. It's monumental. It's monumental. It's September 5th, I'll go down in some Charger lore. In my opinion, it was a big win.
All right, that was Jim Harbaugh after the game tonight. Get a little bit of the perspective from the opposite side. These two teams will meet each other again. It is week 1. I'm going to refer back to what Chris Jones said. It's week 1. There's time to learn. This team's going to be just fine, in my opinion. It's been long enough now. I feel we've all cooled down. The frustrations are out. And this team will be back in action next Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles. Still have a full slate of NFL on Sunday. And oh, by the way, college football tomorrow. Be sure to listen to us on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We got the border war. Kansas and Missouri in Columbia. Kickoff at 2:30. But listen to Brian and the gang for their pregame show. David Lawrence means a lot to him. Should be a fun rivalry game. The Tigers, 5.5-point favorite. So be sure to check us out tomorrow here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. That'll do it for the Red and Gold postgame show. Again, on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I've been your host, Jack Johnson. Dylan Michaels, a fantastic job producing. Kyle Collier, he kicked this thing off. Caden Spruill was here as well. Not the result we were looking for, but I am looking forward to doing this show all season long. Back-to-back losses, unfortunately. Had the Super Bowl, and then week 1 loss. Get a rematch of the Super Bowl next week. We'll have some prime time slots. Giants, Jaguars. We'll see Chiefs and Ravens, Chiefs and Lions. We'll see where this team ends up. Frustrating tonight. Not the performance you want. Out of the country in Brazil. This team will be back, though, in KC, Arrowhead Stadium, home opener against a team that a lot of people here want another shot at. Again, I've been your host, Jack Johnson. That's Dylan Michaels. Have a good night, Kansas City.